Hello, Snugglebugs. Welcome to today's Hearthstone video. We're coming at you to review the Titans Warrior cards, which will be out sometime in the next few days, depending on when this video goes live on YouTube. First up, we have the Forge card for Warrior, which you have to take and put over your deck. Costs 2 mana, and it, think like a blacksmith, upgrades it. So it's a 3 mana, deal 5 damage to a single minion, which means decent board clear for 5, and then deal 5 damage split among all enemy minions. If it's forged, which means it could be a 5 mana, effectively deal 10, so it deals 5 and then splits it along. I think without the Forge, this card is just decent. Doesn't gain you any armor or anything like a lot of removal does for Warrior, so depending on what your deck is built around. But at the same time, later game, your opponent has a few small minions and say 1 5 health minion. Again, we're always thinking perfect world just to see. You hit that for 5, and then all of a sudden they split out 5 mana, potentially deal 10 is also quite strong. I think we'll have to see what Warrior looks like to determine if this card actually fits. The fact it's a fire spell could also help it out, but I do think this is a powerful card. Next up, we have the Craftsman's Hammer, which is a 4 mana 3/3. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, gain 4 armor. I think this is also situational. I don't know yet when other cards are in here. If there's a bunch of armor gain synergies and things, maybe that'll be worth it. But 4 mana 3/3. I guess if you manage to kill 3 minions with it, you also gain 12 armor, which is pretty good. The armor will help you negate the fact that you're hitting minions with this. As of right now, without seeing the other armor synergies, this is, I would say, almost mediocre at best. I might eat my own words on that. It's not the strongest card for me. Furious Furnace, magnetic. Also, so it gives cleave, basically. It's magnetic, gives your mechs cleave. I don't know that many mechs, though, that are in Warrior right now. So unless there's a bunch of neutral mechs, I'm not sure where the home for this will be. But, I mean, anytime you give something cleave, it can always be good. Look at Hollow Hound. I know it also has lifesteal, but being able to effectively put this on a mech that already exists and give it the cleave effect. Minotaurin, 6 mana. Whenever this minion deals damage, gain that much armor. I feel as though this is going to be interesting. And I say that because my initial aspect goes 5 mana, 5/5 with Rush. Obviously strong. If not 5 mana, 6 mana. But if it was a 5/5 with Rush for 5 mana, it might actually see play in of itself, right? Just some people like to, Rush is very powerful. If it was 5 mana especially, people would do it to trade into 4 mana, 4/5s, and get have the value trade. The fact that this also gives you that much armor is kind of like the Shield Maiden, which I believe was 5 mana, 5/5 battle cry, gain 5 armor. It used to be 6, but I'm pretty sure they buffed it to 5. If not, then, that's okay. But to me, the issue or the iffy part here is the fact it's 6 mana. If this was 5 mana, it would be busted beyond belief. Yet somehow 6 mana, it's tough because, this is only really good if you can get a value trade out of it, in my opinion. If you end up trading this into another 5/5, spending 6 mana to trade and only gain 5 armor, which is worth 1 mana, isn't usually fantastic. So I feel like if you can ever get this to trade at least once, it would be really powerful. And if you're in a meta where you can't, it's mediocre. So our first legendary for the expansion for Warrior, Odin, Prime Designate. It is a 8 mana 8/8 battle cry for the rest of the game. After your hero gains armor, they gain that much attack. So this does kind of, the weapon doesn't really help from this then, because if you gain 4 armor after you attack and kill the minion, it doesn't have Wind Fear, so gaining attack does not really help you. So that doesn't really help the weapon that much. But this does kind of make the Minotaurin we just looked at actually seem a lot better, because it now can read, if you've played Odin first, 6 mana 5/5, gain it 5 attack and +5 armor to your hero. Which, all of a sudden dealing 5 extra damage to potentially face or something like that. It's really big. Maybe since at that point, obviously, you would have already had to do 8. I have more than 8 mana. Maybe you use Shield Block as well to gain 5 more attack. I feel like this card is extraordinarily strong. I mean, 8 mana 8/8. Do nothing immediately to the board, mind you. Can seem really slow. It doesn't have a type either, so Menagerie might not want to play it, but it's definitely a card that something like a Control Warrior would absolutely need to have nowadays, because there was no finisher in Control Warrior for a while, which was its issue, is how do you just outlast your opponent when cards are so strong nowadays? Well, here, you could play Odin, and then effectively, every time you play a card to help you survive and gain armor, you're going to gain attack also. I mean, that's pretty good. So I think if there's ever going to be a card printed that I could think of that would help Control Warrior come back into it, would be this one. And I, for one, am very happy. The best offense is a good defense. 30 defense, to be exact. I love it. Although I have to say, favorite flavor text or saying, Still, goody 2 shields. The best defense is a great defense. Just one of those things. Anyway, fantastic card. I'm so excited. Might have to be a day 1 deck for me. 2 mana Smelt. Give a random minion in your hand +3/+3, lose 3 armor to do it again. So let's say you have a bunch of armor. I don't know if this repeats more than once, but you can effectively give something in your hand +6/+6 for the cost of 3 armor, and 2 mana. Again, could be good. Maybe you buff the Minotaurin that we just looked at, because the way it works is it gains the armor based on the amount of damage. So all of a sudden it becomes a 6 mana 11/11 that then gains you 11 armor, and if you've played Odin, 11 attack on top of that. So again, I'm looking at like best case, absolute best case scenario there, but that is a pretty good case scenario, pretty good effect. 3 mana Steam Guardian, draw a spell, 3 mana 3/3, sorry, draw a spell, and reduce the cost of fire spell in your hand by 1. So 3 mana, as we've talked about many times during this card review, 3 mana, even draw 1 card. Pretty good as it is, because it's attached to a 3/3 body, which kind of means you almost got the 3/3 body for 2 mana in a way. And then because you also get to reduce the cost of a fire spell in your hand, as long as you have one to be reduced, which I'm sure you would in a deck that would play a card like this, it reduces the cost enough that, like, I would almost picture this like a 1 mana 3/3, because you kind of have 1 mana to draw the spell, and then you discard, count something by 1 mana as well. So in the right deck, very powerful. 3 mana 3/4, obviously, just great. If your armor changes this turn, draw 2 cards. So again, you're looking at, I mean, I know it's hard to do it with the armor change thing because you don't know, right? Let's say even if you armor up, you'd have to means you have 5 mana, which means it's later in the game. 3 mana 3/4, perfect stat line, and then you could draw 2 cards, which again, if you do, Arcane Intellect is just a 3 mana draw 2 cards. This would make it a free 3/4 body, but you had to have gained, well, it does gained, or if your armor changed this turn. So you could have, theory, lost armor by just attacking something with a weapon you have equipped, whatever that may be. I honestly think this would be played in almost every warrior deck. Doesn't have a type, which, I mean, could hurt it for Menagerie, but other than that, top tier card. Trial by Fire. Summon 5/1/1 Valkyr with Rush. When it dies, give the others a +1/+1. Here's what the Valkyr looks like. So you would get 5 of them, and then when one attacked into something, hopefully killed it, but maybe just killed itself, the rest of them become 2/2s. So it kind of acts like the Rotgill effect, and then if that 2/2 attacks and dies, they'd be 3/3s and 4/4 and a 5/5. This is kind of like a Whelp, the Druid card, with where some of the 7/2/1 Whelps with Rush. Obviously not 7, but they buff each other, so you end up with a 4/4 and 5/5, and maybe even stronger depending on the circumstances. I think this would be interesting. Again, control, and it's a fire spell, so maybe there's going to be some fire spell control deck that I'm going to give a try, but I think that's neat, plus the flavor of these being Valkyries. Valkyrs, I guess, in a way, and sacrificing himself to basically buff each other is fantastic. Last but not least, we have the Titan for the warrior class, Khazgoroth. So, Titans. As you play them, they get to use one of their abilities, then every other turn they get to play until they used all 3 abilities. They can't attack until all 3 abilities are played. This, however, says after this, uses an ability, gain immune this turn, and attack a random enemy minion. So, when you play it, you get to attack for free. So, let's say you have the weapon down, you have 3/3 weapon down, you get to attack, don't take any damage to yourself, and the attack is free. It doesn't count as your normal attack. So let's say you do have the 3/3 weapon down, and it hits a 3/3 minion, you would gain the armor. If you've played Odin, you'd then gain the attack, which then you would be able to keep pumping out, which might be one of the combos here. The abilities are Titan Forge, gain +2/+2, and draw a weapon. So this becomes a 6/6 in that case, pretty quickly, and you get to draw your weapon. Tempering, gain 5 attack, give your hero 5 attack this turn. So this become a 9/4, but then your hero would gain the 5 attack to attack something. So one of the ways to give your hero attack if you don't have a weapon equipped currently for its effect. And then gain 5 health, give your hero 5 armor, which again, if you already played Odin, would actually also give you your hero +5 attack, which would allow you to automatically hit something with Khazgoroth's ability. I could be wrong here, but because it seems so dependent on possibly either having played Odin or having a weapon on board, not the best to play right on 6 most of the time, but of course in Control Warrior you don't always need to play things right where they go. So in my opinion, one of the least easy to use Titans, not necessarily the worst, but could need a little bit more build, right, to play it, where the rest of them seem pretty solid on their own. But that is my review of the Warrior card. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.